Parliament on active citizens media. Tonight we begin with a story that is already generating heated debate across the country at a time when millions of Nigerians are complaining about rising hunger, worsening insecurity, unemployment, inflation, and the high cost of living. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration has announced plans to provide free television services for Nigerians. Some Nigerians have welcomed the initiative. They argue that access to information, education, and digital inclusion are important and that free television could benefit millions of households, especially low-income families. But others are asking difficult questions. Why now? Why free television when many Nigerians are struggling to put food on their tables? Why free television when kidnapping, banditry, and insecurity remain major concerns across the country? Now, why free television when businesses are shutting down and many young Nigerians are leaving the country in search of better opportunities? Is this a genuine social intervention? Is it a digital inclusion program designed to improve access to information? Or is it another political distraction from the pressing issues confronting ordinary Nigerians? Could this become another government communication tool ahead of the 2027 general elections? Or are critics simply being unfair to an initiative that may improve access to information and educational content for millions of Nigerians? Because whether you support or oppose this policy, one thing is certainly clear. The announcement has sparked outrage, debate, and serious questions about the government's priorities. And tonight we'll ask simple question. Is this a welcome intervention or a misplaced national priority or a political strategy ahead of 2027? Now joining me tonight to unpack the facts and the politics and also the implications of this controversial announcement. This is analyst. We welcome our analyst, Mr. Chidi, Kanu. Good evening once again, and my name is Ifeoma Orji. Of course, joining me in the studio is Mr. Chidi Kanu, an advocate and a civic advocate, and I equally have Mr. Chukwemeka Amechi joining in the conversation this evening. Good evening, and welcome once again to the evening.
Thank you for having me.
All right, now, Mr. Kanu, let me begin by asking: at a time of hunger, insecurity, and economic hardship, is free television what many Nigerians really need right now, or are we missing something bigger?
Well, Ifeoma, I feel it is not a distraction. It is a distraction, and it is not a national priority right now.
Yeah.
But again, Nigerians are the kind of people they are, especially the younger ones, mostly who are not interested in what goes on the governments, on the democracy, as the case might be. Those people will, of course, like the initiative, but majority of people who are facing insecurity, people who are facing hunger, of course, will not buy the idea. And I will also go further to say it may be a strategy for 2027 elections, because the election is forthcoming and the distraction is coming at a time when Nigerians seems to be much more aggrieved towards this administration. So I believe it is a distraction. It is not a national priority. I mean, the children that has been kidnapped at Oyo is a priority for Nigerians. Now, I'm not saying for the media people who are interested in getting free education and intervention, as the case might be, that is not something for them. But that is not what Nigerians are looking at the present. For me, it is a distraction, a very serious distraction to the issues on ground. And we always have our series about what you choose to go ahead with the Tinubu's latest trending.
That's why I had to bring it up.
Having trending, because that is what everybody like, the paparazzi and the photo ops that the politicians do. But we need to concentrate on the price. We need to concentrate on what is actually happening. We need to educate our people to go and take their PVCs. We need to tell people to collect their PVCs. We should not all the time be distracted. That's what happens all the time. Distraction. In the time of Goodluck Jonathan, a distraction came in the case of Chibok girls. You understand me?
Yeah.
And we know what transpired between the US and co. And at the end of the day, what happened? He said the Nigerians are not what the innocent blood of an innocent Nigerian, as the case might be.
Yeah.
And that is where we are as of today. So if this distraction that is happening, if Nigerian favors it, well for that very person, but I will never be distracted by what is happening in Nigeria, be it the hunger, be it the insecurity. My goal, my eyes are on the goal, and the goal is to sensitize Nigeria to take their BVCs and take their decision into their own hands come 2027.
All right, the goal is to sensitize Nigeria to acquire their PVC and vote for their conscience come 2027. And I'm coming to you, Mr. Chukwuemeka. I'm going to read the second story for this evening, and you tie it with the first one under a minute, okay? Now, protests have erupted in Delta State after youths allege that a 3-week empowerment program organized by a serving APC senator ended without, delivering promised benefits. Now, the participants say they were promised life-changing, opportunities, but received nothing at the end of the day, prompting demands for justice and accountability. And authorities are now being urged to investigate the allegations and address the protesters' concern. Because of time, we wouldn't be taking the video, but you could see it displaying in the background. This incident happened in Delta State, where people who were sent to by a certain senator for a certain program, empowerment program, at the end of the day, 3 weeks, they stayed 3 weeks for the empowerment program, and at the end of the day, they saw no fruition to everything that was promised ab initio, the empowerment. And this is where I'm coming to you now, Mr. Chukwuemeka. I'll need you to tie your thoughts now on this story now with the first story concerning the free TV launched by the government.
Okay, based on this, the empowerment program of thing is not. I'm not surprised seeing it, because this is not the first time. You understand? I've been seeing something like this severally. Understand? Nigeria does not have a structural system of accountability. If somebody can just wake up, when someone is winning an election in Nigeria, everybody is seeing him as he have escaped poverty, not in a way to serve humanity. Understand? So that's the major problem of our country. If Nigeria have a structured system of accountability, all these things will not be happening. After 4 years in power, you give account of what you did and how you spend the fund given to you. By, you understand? For the people you are representing. But in Nigerian case, everybody, once you have the access to the wealth, for the money, you embezzle it. You understand? And you save for your next generation. Why the people that send you there are not seeing the dividend of democracy? You understand? And coming to the television aspect by our president, I see it as our president is a king of manipulation, and he knows how he do his things. You understand? He always find a way. Whatever is presenting to the public, it is what that will benefit him. You understand? I see it's a complete distraction for the Nigerians.
Complete distraction, just like what Mr. Kanu said.
I just wanted to chip into what he said. Our senators, our representative at NAS, the senator that you're talking about, I don't know who he is, I don't know where he comes from, but let me tell you something about empowerment. It is either the empowerment is a personal empowerment, or it happens to be a federal government intervention project. So if it happens to be a federal government intervention project, people need to ask whether such project exists in the first instance, and whether such money has been released for such project. Sometimes the senator might take it upon himself to start the project while expecting the release of the funds maybe has been promised by the agency, and this can happen. And our youths are always enticed by money as far as Nigeria is concerned. Whenever there's a promise coming from a senator or anyone, then they will go and camp somewhere, and you understand? So the people who are making this noise, I can call it that, should investigate the project, whether it is a personal project that the man is doing so that he will get money personally to support them as he has promised, or it is a federal government intervention project wherein money has been budgeted and whether that money has been disbursed, as the case might be. Okay, so I don't like people just jumping in.
I believe the authorities, like I read earlier, are already investigating it, probing into the matter to see if your claims are quite on time. But I wanted us to take this two stories for the evening parliament because it has been trending online. But this is where we're going to go for a short break, and when we'll come back, we'll start with the Active Citizens Hero series. Stay tuned.
They want to make sure they suppress others from voting.
Every election, a nation makes a choice. Every vote carries a voice. Every polling unit tells a story. But democracy does not belong to Nigerians. It does not belong to government. It belongs to the people. It belongs to the teacher, it belongs to the trader, it belongs to the student, the farmer, the artisan, the ordinary citizen. Together, the guardians of democracy. Now, across more than 176,000 polling units, a new movement is emerging. A movement built on truth, built on transparency, built on accountability, built on peaceful citizen participation. It is not violence, it is not intimidation, it is not division, but verification, documentation, participation, and most importantly, trust. Now imagine every polling unit protected by informed citizen. Imagine every result independently verified. Imagine a stronger democracy. Imagine a better Nigeria. Protecting democracy, verifying results, empowering citizens. This is Active Citizens Award 2027, because every vote must count. Into Active Citizens Hero series, where we ask difficult questions about democracy, election, and the role of ordinary citizens in nation building. My name is Ifeoma Orji once again, and tonight's conversation may be our most controversial discussion yet. Since the 2023 general elections, millions of Nigerians have repeatedly said the election was rigged. Others insist the election was free and fair. Some blamed INEC, some blamed politicians, some blamed the judiciary, some blamed technological failures. Until today, Nigerians remain deeply divided over what happened in 2023. But tonight, we want to ask a different question, a very uncomfortable question, a question that every Nigerian, regardless of political party, must answer honestly. If you're polling, what evidence do you have? Did you preserve your polling unit result? Did you photograph from Form EC8A? Did you record videos? Did you document incidents? Did you preserve records? Or are we relying entirely on assumptions, rumors, and emotions? Because one thing is certain, democracy does not run on feelings. Courts do not decide cases based on anger. Judgments are delivered on evidence, and tonight we ask, what evidence do ordinary Nigerians possess that can contradict INEC's records or challenge judicial findings? Can citizens independently preserve democratic evidence? Can communities become custodians of electoral truth? Or are Nigerians surrendering their democratic memory immediately they leave their polling units? These are difficult questions, but they are questions we must ask before 2027. Now, joining me once again in the studio is the analyst and advocate of the Active Citizens Hero series, Mr. Chidi Kanu. Good evening, sir. How are you doing once again?
Yeah, Ifeoma, thank you. This is what I was, going ahead. I was talking about the eyes being on the go. This is where it is, where this where it all starts, because our eyes has to be on go. So thank you once again. This may be one of the most important conversations that we had, in this very series, because tonight, Ifeoma, you are asking very difficult questions again. I'm not here to tell Nigerians whether 2023 general election was rigged or not. I am here to ask a different question, Ifeoma, and that's why I was hurrying through the studio trying to make sure that I'm here on time. Because you see what? Allegations are not evidence. Nigerian keeps complaining since 3 years ago, and even Tinubu is about to end his tenure, trying to start another one by 2027, by the way. Social media posts are not evidence. People who keep posting and keep chatting and the rest of it, and even people who choose not to share the video that we are doing every day, trying to educate Nigerians and tell them what to do. So anger is not evidence. That you are angry that somebody has rigged an election is not an evidence. Political opinions are not evidence. I'm talking to Nigerians. Share this video, let somebody know that political opinions are not evidence of what happened in 2023. Courts deal with evidence, and we start on time to deal with that. Democracy depends on evidence, and the first place where evidence is created is not in Abuja. Every day I continue to say that. Evidence is not in the tribunal that we go after we have done that, and it is also not in the Supreme Court of Nigeria. It is at the polling unit, Ifeoma. That is where votes are cast, that is where votes are counted, and that is where results are announced. That is where Form EC8A is completed. That is where witnesses are present. Everything begins at the polling unit. So if Nigerians believe something different happened at their polling units, the question becomes, what evidence did they preserve? So if you see what I'm saying, it is all about evidence. Yesterday we talked about what they could have done at their polling unit level. But at the present time purposes, with the question I'm asking you outside of this, or asking any Nigerian who is watching that, what evidence do we have that the election at your polling unit in 2023 was rigged? If anybody can confirm, let them send it to, so that we can understand why. Because we have pulled polling unit results from the IREV. It means we are checking the institutional memory and not our own citizens' memory. Are you getting my point? So it is very, very important, critical, that citizens develop their own citizenship memory, which is their own evidence, not relying on INEC evidence. So I can challenge any Nigerian or multiple Nigerians to show that. So that's why I keep talking about in 2027 we should not go back to our old ways. We should be looking at having the evidence before us, because those evidence that comes in form of EC8As and from all the polling units will definitely be what we will be presenting for any candidate that has won the election in Nigeria.
All right, Mr. Carlo. Now, many Nigerians say that they know what happened, during elections, most importantly or most especially the 2023 election. But do they actually have evidence?
Well, we can just, let me just pass it on to my guy here. This is really an uncomfortable question, and I'm trying to answer it as comfortably as possible. This question he keeps asking, I want to put position in. What do you think? Do you think your own, because we all have our own polling units.
Yes.
If I should ask you, just like he's asking, do your polling unit have evidence to prove outside of what came from IREV? Have you seen it?
Well, my polling unit does not have any evidence of the past election. You understand?
It should be on IREV.
Okay, yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
So that is he has just answered the question. The point is this: Nigeria, that is an institution's memory, which is INEC memory. Some of them were blotted results. You understand me? Some of them were tippeted. Some of them, there are so many things that happen, and that is coming from INEC. Why, if we keep on saying that INEC has rigged the election by falsifying those results, why are we not having our own result to show? So that is what the solution is, that we should start having our own to compare with what INEC has, so that at the end of the day, if we say an election is rigged, we have proof, we have evidence that it is rigged.
Well said. Let me ask, more questions now. Many Nigerians are still angry, with the court's judgment. They believe that justice was not meted on Nigerians. What do you say to them at this point in time, Mr. Kanu?
People have every right to disagree with judgments. Let's be clear, my brother, you get my point. Yes. People have every right to disagree with judgments. That is the democracy. That is the beauty of democracy. I might have my opinion, you have your opinion. But one thing we must understand is that courts decide cases based on the evidence before them. Because what evidence was available after the 2023 general elections? What evidence was available? What evidence was preserved by Nigerians? What evidence was tendered? The major contenders at 2023 election, as we know it, is between Peter Obi and Atiku versus the Tinubu that INEC said won the election. Now, the evidence that Peter Obi went to court with are provided by INEC. Correct? Yes. The evidence that is that Atiku went to Supreme Court with and other courts are provided by INEC. So, my question is, Atiku, with all his power, with all the PDP might and all of that, obedience with the rich they have, where are they from EC8As, from those different polling units where they are? Where was that? I will tell you something very important, because this is time we start paying attention, because if I don't want us to make the mistake of 2027 and blame someone else again. Shortly before the 2023 general election, we went even on air to announce that people should become polling unit reporters. Wherever you are, you should report it. How many people did report? We gave them access to report. So maybe we didn't start on time. And that's why we are starting on time now, to say you need to have your evidence. So Nigerians, what evidence existed from your polling unit? This is not about defending INEC. Let somebody not get me wrong. This is not about defending Tinubu. I will never do that. And I'm not defending any politician for that matter. This is not about defending the judiciary at all. This is about defending this is about asking Nigerians, if your polling unit was rigged, can you prove it, please? Can you prove it? If you cannot prove it in 2023, can you prove it in 2027? That is the subject matter. Because democracy cannot survive on assumptions. Democracy survives on evidence, Ifeoma.
You can hear it now, everybody. They said Mr. Kanu is saying now that democracy does not survive on assumptions. Rather, it needs evidence to back it up. But Mr. Kanu, this conversation seems to be leading somewhere. You have repeatedly spoken about 20 citizens in every polling unit. How does that solve this problem we have?
Every day, Ifeoma, you are very much interested on 20
yes,
on the 20 heroes.
Yes.
I think since we have also our own person here, let me so that our own personal memories can reflect.
Okay.
In your polling unit, currently, or in the last election, maybe you have over 300 or 500 people who came out to vote. Yes. And if you had any form of disruptions, I always agree that you should have like 5 persons who might come under bike to come and disrupt elections. Yes. Now, if those people come and you have people who are peacekeepers at that very polling unit, people who are safeguarding democracy at that polling unit of up to 20, I'm not talking about 5, I'm not talking about 10, I'm talking about 20. Do you sincerely believe also, like I believe, that 20 people can guard Nigeria in every polling unit? Those people whom I assume will become heroes of democracy in Nigeria, because we celebrate June 12th as a democracy day, right? Yes. And that is attributed to somebody, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, yes. Now the youths can actually change that very democracy day that is being attributed to somebody, and it will be attributed to Nigerians. You know why? Because it is then that the democracy will be born. The moment Nigerians are able to get power back into their hands, that is when democracy will actually work.
Nigerians, it is time to birth democracy, and the road now is the road from now to 2027 is the right time. But Mr. Kadu, you're saying something about, Nigerians not taking up the power into their own hands and doing the right thing, voting their conscience. So are you saying that, are you blaming Nigerians for what happened in 2023? Because a lot of people are blaming INEC. Some people are blaming, President Tinubu. Some people say he's Atiku and all whatnot. Are you blaming
Should we still
Nigerians?
be blaming anybody after 4 years? I mean, Tinubu has completed one tenure already. So why should we be talking about blaming? So I will say absolutely not. I am not blaming Nigerians. And Nigerians, you need to know what I am doing is that I am challenging Nigerians. There is a difference in what I'm saying. If we believe our votes matter, if we must also believe evidence matters, if we also believe democracy belongs to all of us, then preserving democratic evidence also belongs to us. If we believe elections should be credible, then citizens must become active participants before, during, and after the elections. So that is what I stand for. So the lesson of 2023 is not simply about who won or who lost. The lesson is this: no active citizen should stand alone again, ever again in 2027. Citizens must organize. Citizens must document. Citizens must preserve evidence. Citizens must protect democratic memory. Because democracy cannot survive on the assumptions that we keep having every political timeline, every voting time. Democracy survives on pure evidence. If we don't have those evidence, we should not come out and say Chief Bola Tinubu or INEC or judiciary has rigged the election. Because we need to have our own evidence to counter whatever comes on with the INEC.
Exactly. Now, we've come almost to the end of the show, and Mr. Chukwemeka, you've been here. You've heard from Mr. Kalu with the education, civic education, and how to go about 2027 election. And I would love your thoughts in a minute as a Nigerian. Hearing all these things, do you think is more like workable? Do you think it's something that will come into kind of provide positive results? Your thoughts?
Well, it is workable. Firstly, like I've listened to what he said here, and this from his analysis and every aspect of it, it is workable. You understand? Because Nigeria need to be active come 2027.
So are you going to be active?
Very active. I'm always active.
All right. You've heard it from Mr. Chidi, Kanu, and Mr. Chukwemeka. Now, perhaps the question is no longer was the election rigged. Perhaps the more important question is, if your polling unit was rigged, can you prove it? What evidence do you have? Or did you preserve the evidence? What happened at your polling unit? Who documented it? Who protected democratic memory? Because if citizens preserve nothing, they may ultimately have nothing to present when disputes arise. And the future of Nigerian democracy may depend not only on voting, but on citizens who are willing to document, preserve, and defend democratic evidence. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Chidi Kanu and Mr. Chukwemeka. Thank you so much for joining the course of the conversation. And to you, our viewers, thank you so much for joining us. If this is your first time, this is Active Citizens Hero Series right here on Evening Parliament on Active Citizens, and this is where we're going to say good evening for today. And remember, 1 polling unit, 20 heroes, and it's under democracy. We'll see you tomorrow for more update. Stay updated.
They want to make sure they suppress others from voting.
Every election, a nation makes a choice. Every vote carries a voice. Every polling unit tells a story. But democracy does not belong to Nigerians. It does not belong to government. It belongs to the people. It belongs to the teacher, it belongs to the trader, it belongs to the student, the farmer, the artisan, the ordinary citizen. Together, the guardians of democracy. Now, across more than 176,000 polling units, a new movement is emerging. A movement built on truth, built on transparency, built on accountability, built on peaceful citizen participation. It is not violence, it is not intimidation, it is not division, but verification, documentation, participation, and most importantly, trust. Now imagine every polling unit protected by informed citizen. Imagine every result independently verified. Imagine a stronger democracy. Imagine a better Nigeria. Protecting democracy, verifying results, empowering citizens. This is Active Citizens Award 2027, because every vote must count.